In the northwest of China, so many masters are searching for something precious. Then the protagonist of the story finally gets his hands on a parchment. This is the legendary technique that is said to have been left behind by the Sword Immortal approximately 600 years ago. So the protagonist wants to keep the records for himself, yet it is useless for him. Because his dantian has been broken, and other martial artists will try to steal from him if they know he had this records. So he plans to hide it somewhere safe and attempts to swallow it. Nevertheless, it's a bit difficult to gulp it down without water. At that moment, two people have arrived to where the protagonist is and questions the protagonist if he had found the secret records. The man in his mid-20s is the head of the Golden Dragon clan, Imo Yong-su, and a member of the Martial Alliance. The protagonist greets the both of them and explains that he found the secret records and hidden it in a safe place. The protagonist demands Yong-su that he will hand over the records when Yong-su fulfills his promise to the protagonist. At that point, the old man behind Yong-su, Baekwa, one of the four elders of the Martial Alliance, remembers that the protagonist wants to remove the bloodworm from his chest. Now, Yong-su unsheaths his sword and states that, why should they need to fulfill the promise? Because even if they were to remove the worm from his chest, there is no place for the protagonist to return. He calls the protagonist, So Woonhwi. Now Yong-su continues speaking that, So Woonhwi is from the So clan, and he was exiled from the clan due to his dantian being destroyed. Then, 10 years ago, he was kidnapped by the blood cult and had a bloodworm implanted in his chest. Since then, he is being forced to be a puppet of the blood cult. So right now, even if he were to gain freedom here, there is no place for Woonhwi to go. Woonhwi is stunned that Yong-su knew all about Woonhwi from the start. At that time, Yong-su warns Woonhwi to hand over the secret records of the Sword Immortal. Moreover, if Woonhwi were to give the secret records obediently, Yong-su will consider removing the bloodworm from his chest. Woonhwi responds that the secret records are hidden in a place only he know about. Furthermore, he was not requesting for any special privileges. All he wants to in return for the records is for him to escape from the blood cult, so he could live like a human being from now on. The old man from backside laughs at Woonhwi by stating that he is clever. In that instant, Yong-su stabbed Woonhwi in his chest, and Yong-su replies that it is obvious for a spy as to where he hides all his secrets. It must be concealed in Woonhwi's body. Woonhwi realizes that these people had intended to kill Woonhwi right from the beginning. As Yong-su took out his sword from Woonhwi's chest, he speaks that the moment Woonhwi decided to become a spy, he was fated to die like this. Woonhwi is regretting that. He didn't even live happily even for a moment, and now he is dying a regretful death. At that point of time, Yong-su slashes his sword around Woonhwi's torso. In addition to, the records in Woonhwi's stomach also sliced into two pieces. Yong-su is flabbergasted for a moment, that he never imagined that Woonhwi would swallow the records. Moreover, blue color light is emitting from Woonhwi when the records were sliced in half, and Woonhwi imagines that there is nothing that he can do right now, and he wishes that, if there is a second life to him, it shouldn't be as pitiful as this life. Few moments later, someone splashed water on Woonhwi. Two kids are enjoying the situation, and Woonhwi's body suddenly becomes smaller. Furthermore, there are no sword slashes or burn marks on his body. One of the kid calls Woonhwi a pathetic mule. Woonhwi recognized this voice, and the two kids informs that they won the drinking game, and calls themselves as the Double Swords. They are Song Jwabaek and Song Woohyun. Our protagonist is from the future, so he knows that these two brothers will become black and white twin ghosts of the blood cult who are infamous. However, he can't understand as to why do they look so young. As he is slowly turning his head and saw his face in the mirror, he is confounded for a moment, and he could grasp that he looked like this when he was younger. Then, Jwabaek from backside kicks Woonhwi by questioning if he is still drunk. It is so painful to Woonhwi, and all of a sudden, he perplexed because, if it is a dream, it shouldn't be painful. At that moment, he wakes up and inquiries about today's date. Woohyun responds that it is August 9th of the 11th year of the sexagenary cycle. Now, Woonhwi is pondering about the date and comes to a conclusion that it is 10 years before he died, so that means Woonhwi is regressed back to 10 years. Woohyun asks if Woonhwi needs a beating to sober up, because who wouldn't know the year at the very least. Then, Woonhwi is so happy that he grabbed Jwabek with hands and greets Jwabek that it is nice seeing him again. Like that, he remembers something in that moment. Outside the mansion, a few people are walking to the entrance, and a guard questions as to who came this late at night. The spiky dude beheaded the guard in an instant. From the inside, another guard came out with yawning, and he was stunned to look a guard being headless. Woonhwi was searching for something in his trunk, and Jwabek interrogates if Woonhwi really don't have any money on him right now, and Woonhwi suggests the brothers that if they want to live, they need to get out of here. Jwabek cracks his knuckles and questions why Woonhwi is acting like this. At last, he found the item he was looking for, and it is a sword called Sodam. It was given to him as a present from his mother. He regretted so much in his past life that he lost this sword that was given to him as a keepsake. As he took a hold of the sword, he heard a shout from somewhere near to him, and he thought that he would almost go deaf by that shout. Outside the room, there are people clamoring to save them, and Woonhwi and the brothers could hear them as well. Woonhwi guesses that the shout that he heard didn't come from outside, yet he don't the time for that, and keeps his sword inside his kimono. The brothers are peeking outside to confirm the situation. Woonhwi barges into them and peeks from the door gap. He concludes that it is the blood cult. Now he remembers that it was August 9th of the 11th year that he was kidnapped. Jwabek thinks that it has to be bandits, but Woonhwi informs that they are blood cultists. Woonhwi advises the brothers to run away quickly from the blood cultists. Jwabek replies that the blood cult is completely annihilated by the Murim Alliance. Woonhwi implies that the brothers could satisfy their curiosity just by going down and ask the blood cultists themselves about the mystery. Woonhwi believes that he doesn't even need to worry about the brothers, because in the future they are going to become martial arts masters after being kidnapped. However, there is one more person who has been kidnapped from the mansion that day. Woonhwi recalls that his name is Asong. He was the only person that was on Woonhwi's side all the time and supported him a lot in So clan. Asong is sleeping peacefully like a baby, and Woonhwi raises his voice at Asong to wake up. He relaxed after knowing that it was Woonhwi who woke him up. Then, Woonhwi takes hold of Asong's hand and knows that they are being attacked by the blood cult right now, and soon they will make their way to this inn, so they need to escape quickly. Asong puts into question that the exit isn't this way, and Woonhwi notifies that the entire town is surrounded, so they will be caught the moment they move in that direction. Asong proposes that they need to hide in a wardrobe in that case. Woonhwi apprises that that is the universal spot that everyone attempts to hide, and the blood cultists are here to capture kids like them, and kids would hide in wardrobes, big pots, and etc. The blood cult will search almost all places, so they need to hide in a place that is very difficult to find. Like, a place where they wouldn't hide even if the thought were to occur to them. And the only spot like that is the outhouse that all human waste is stored. As Woonhwi opened the door, bad smell started, and Woonhwi recommends Asong to hide in here. Asong declines at that. He can't stay in a place like this. Woonhwi responds that it isn't the time to argue about things like this, and pushes Asong into the human waste. Woonhwi had planned to hide in the outhouse, but now he had given that opportunity to Asong. He scans the area to see if there is any place that he could hide safely. In that moment, he saw a horse shed and successfully hid himself in the horse feed. Yet, there is a chance that an exceptional master could sense his inner energy and discovers him. So him prepares himself and holds the sword that he got earlier. All of a sudden, the sword speaks that it's so dirty here, and he shouldn't catch the sword with dirty hands. The sword questions that, is Woonhwi disrespecting the sword, because it is a short sword? Woonhwi is perplexed to hear the sword's voice. He thinks that it might be a ghost, and the sword responds that it is not a ghost, but a short sword. The sword then makes her appearance, and it is a spirit. Even the spirit itself is shocked that Woonhwi is able to hear and see the sword's spirit. Woonhwi is thinking that he might be hallucinating right now, and believes to himself that he neither can't see nor hear the spirit. The spirit clarifies that Woonhwi is able to see and hear its voice. Moreover, swords can read a human's thoughts when they are in contact. At that time, a sound of someone arriving could be heard by them, and Woonhwi tells the spirit to be quiet, and the spirit notifies that only Woonhwi could hear its voice. As the person is leaving this place, something intrigued him. It was tracks of a person and they lead to the horse shed. Woonhwi slowly takes out his sword, and that person has approached near the horse feet. The spirit asks, will Woonhwi be able to stab him if he has the chance? Because killing someone is not something a kid like him could do. Furthermore, the spirit could hear Woonhwi's heart beating fast. Woonhwi remembers as to how he was killed in his past life, and grips his sword tightly, and then he stabs the person so hard that he has died in an instant by that force. Woonhwi has only one thought in his mind, that no matter the cost, he will for sure survive in this life. The spirit compliments that Woonhwi is really good, because she thought that Woonhwi is just good at drinking with the Song brothers only. Now, she thinks that she needs to reevaluate Woonhwi again. Woonhwi tells her to stop talking for a moment, and thinks that he should ignore her for the time being. The situation now got worse. Since the blood cult warriors always move in 3 groups during their missions, the squad members of this warrior will arrive soon. Although he hid the warrior's body, it is only a matter of time that Woonhwi gets caught. Moreover, there will be no room for negotiation, since Woonhwi had killed a warrior. The spirit speaks again, and Woonhwi annoyingly tells to leave him for a moment. The spirit states that she wanted to be silent too, but there is a blood cult warrior behind Woonhwi. Woonhwi immediately turned his head to the back, and there, a warrior speaks that if he is interrupting something. The warrior expresses that he is enjoying seeing the work of Woonhwi, so Woonhwi can just ignore him and continue his business. Woonhwi dazes as to how long the warrior is spectating him. Furthermore, the belt of the warrior is in brown color. It means that the warrior is a mid-rank warrior. Woonhwi now takes a fighting stance. Besides, there is no chance of winning with Woonhwi's current martial prowess. The spirit encourages Woonhwi to fight, and he could ask her for help too if needed. Woonhwi just replies to her to not distract him, and she responds that Woonhwi is overestimating himself. The warrior speaks that Woonhwi doesn't look like a person who learned any martial arts at all. Yet, he was able to kill a low-rank warrior with a surprise attack. The warrior presents an offer to Woonhwi, which is, if he surrenders right now, the warrior will let him live at least. Woonhwi plans to provoke him, so he points that if the warrior has intended to kill Woonhwi, he wouldn't have offered a chance to Woonhwi. It shows that the warrior doesn't have the guts to kill Woonhwi, because the mid-rank warrior might end up the same as the low-rank warrior. The spirit states that it is not a good thing to provoke the warrior who had presented an offer. Nonetheless, Woonhwi believes that it is going as he imagined. The warrior laughs out loudly that Woonhwi got quite the audacity. The warrior expresses that Woonhwi is good at scheming too, so it would be a waste to kill him. The warrior comprehends that Woonhwi wants to avoid fighting as much as possible. Then he wants to check if Woonhwi is as skilled as his brain and mouth. As he swinged his blade at Woonhwi, Woonhwi ducked in an arm's breadth and attempts to stab the warrior. In that moment, the warrior quickly grabbed Woonhwi's hand and states that even though his eyes are fast, his hand can't keep up the speed. As he raised the hand that he grabbed, Woonhwi now releases the sword in his left hand and grabs it with his right hand, and swiftly moves without losing a second. Then he strikes the warrior's face. Woonhwi believes that he killed the warrior, yet the warrior dodged the point-blank slash. The warrior is now furious, where even his eyes turned into red color. The warrior kicks Woonhwi so hard that he went flying to more than 10 steps. As Woonhwi is slowly waking up, he is pondering that now he don't have any other chance but to fight the warrior head-on. The spirit informs that Woonhwi had no chance of winning without her help. Woonhwi responds that what can a spirit do in a circumstance like this? She then questions what can Woonhwi alone can do. Woonhwi answers that even though the cut isn't deep, it would be hard for the warrior to use his left eye, so Woonhwi plans to move in the warrior's blind spot. The warrior now forewarns that he tried to be nice with Woonhwi, but Woonhwi only wanted to die so badly. At first, the warrior thought of giving Woonhwi a chance to enter blood cult, but now he changed his mind. He is fixated to kill Woonhwi right here. Then the warrior launched himself to Woonhwi, and Woonhwi could recognize the sword movements as the basic swordsmanship of the blood cult. It's quick for Woonhwi to perceive the patterns, but Woonhwi could guess that the warrior is avoiding lethal attacks on purpose, so that he could kill Woonhwi with a savage torture. The warrior speaks that it is late for regrets, and now he takes a stance to kill Woonhwi. As the warrior swinged his sword, Woonhwi couldn't even see where the sword is, and the spirit apprises that it is a frontal stab. Instantly, Woonhwi blocked the sword of the warrior by defending with his sword. The warrior is stunned to see that Woonhwi blocked that, and Woonhwi has rolled down on the ground multiple times to stop the force. Even Woonhwi can't believe that he blocked it, and the spirit informs that if she hadn't helped him, he would have just died. Woonhwi now grasps that the voice that he heard about the attack was the spirit. The spirit knows that she is able to see all the attacks of the warrior. She now asks if she needs to stay silent. Woonhwi apologies for ignoring her twice and requests her to help him. She says in response that she had no choice but to help him because she can't let an exotic creature who could hear her after 47 years die like this. She now questions if Woonhwi had a plan to deal with warrior if he could read his moves. Woonhwi responds that it would be difficult in his current state because earlier the warrior got counterattacked once, so the warrior won't get near Woonhwi's sword again. So the only way is to make the warrior impatient and attack him when he let his guard down. At the same time, the guard is also perplexed that Woonhwi managed to block the final blow. The guard believes that it might be out of luck that Woonhwi had survived that. As the warrior moves in the direction of Woonhwi, the spirit suggests that they need to block the warrior's attacks and drag out the time. Woonhwi prepares himself for that, and all he needs is the guidance from the spirit. Like that, the warrior started to attack, and the spirit is helping Woonhwi by predicting where the next attack would be. The guard is bewildered as to how can Woonhwi block all the attacks of the warrior. Moreover, the blood is also obstructing his point of view. The spirit recommends that this is the best time to attack in his blind spot, so that the warrior could get impatient. The warrior instantly saw through Woonhwi's plan and attacks Woonhwi with impatience. Woonhwi realizes that this is the best time to attack him, and the warrior is startled at Woonhwi's sudden attack. Nonetheless, the warrior smiles that,
"Did you expect me to be surprised like that?"
and uses his leg strike Woonhwi on his right hand. Woonhwi is hurled back, and he grasps his own shoulder which is shivering by that attack. The warrior comprehends that Woonhwi's right hand is done for, and swiftly moves again to finish Woonhwi off.
As the warrior jumped into the air, Woonhwi's hand, which is shivering, stopped all of a sudden, and he rapidly dodges the attack of the warrior by somersaulting, and in that split moment, Woonhwi slashes off the throat of the warrior. Like that, the warrior, who is a mid-rank, has died.
The spirit appreciates that Woonhwi's acting is impressive. For a moment she thought that Woonhwi's hand is really broken. Woonhwi expresses that if that warrior is little more vigilant, that attack wouldn't have worked, and he shows his gratitude to the spirit too. The spirit states that if Woonhwi is that thankful, he could clean the blade properly which has blood on it. Woonhwi guesses that the spirit is angry, yet she denies that, and advises that he should at least clean off the rust, because the maintenance of the sword is terrible. At that moment, the spirit recommends to move Woonhwi's head, but a punch is given to him, which made him rotate in the mid-air. The spiky dude speaks that he was worried because 2 of the guards that he sent in this direction have not came back. What's more shocking to him is that both a low and a mid-rank warriors are defeated by a child who haven't learned any martial arts.
The spiky dude is holding the name plaque of Woonhwi, which displays that, so Woonhwi of Yiyang County, Luoyang City, he's from the So clan. Then a warrior comes forward and briefs in that Woonhwi is a playboy in Henan province, which is a province in China. Woonhwi is crying like a baby and is begging for his life to be spared. The warrior continues that even Woonhwi's own family has outcasted him after his Dantian had shattered from inner energy rampage. Moreover, he is a son of an orthodox clan, so the warrior behind suggests the spiky dude that they can raise Woonhwi as a spy. The spiky dude rejects it because there's no use to raise someone who doesn't even have a Dantian. Furthermore, Woonhwi won't be able to complete the basic training at all due to his condition. In addition to, Woonhwi even pissed himself from fear despite being from a famed clan. The spiky dude states that Woonhwi cannot be even considered as a low-grade 2. Woonhwi begs the spiky dude for mercy and speaks that he will do whatever he can, including spying too. He joins both of his hands and requests them not to kill him.
This is what happened in his previous life. In this life, he struggled so much to avoid that fate, yet he ended up in the same situation again. However, he thinks that there is still a possibility, because in this life they have tied him up, which they haven't done in his past life. He calls out for the spirit, and puts into question as to how long has he been passed out for. The spirit isn't responding, since they are not in contact. The spiky dude is amazed that a playboy without a dantian is able to take out 2 warriors from the infamous blood cult. Moreover, he did all of this with just using a short sword, that too which is of rust. Woonhwi believes that the spiky dude's opinion has changed from his previous life, so at this rate, they'll still take him to the blood cult. But if he thinks this in a positive way, such as, he still had the chance to survive in this life, if only he could get out of this situation safely. The spiky dude states that they will eliminate Woonhwi here, and Warrior Behind proposes that Woonhwi is a mid-grade product, so they can use him as a spy. The spiky dude responds that there are plenty of guys who'd be useful as a spies compared to Woonhwi, who is a playboy, and without even a dantian. Then, the warrior is ordered to kill Woonhwi, and Woonhwi is thinking that the only thing that has changed from his previous life is that now he is a mid-grade product. So Woonhwi plans to beg the spiky dude as he did in his past life. The spiky dude laughs at him, and states that this is the price for killing his men. As the warrior raised his sword to decapitate Woonhwi, and Woonhwi is looking all over the place, so that he could use the information in his previous life to at least buy some time. At that point of time, the spiky dude notifies that watching Woonhwi begging for his life is quite the drama for him, and Woonhwi is glaring at the sword of the person behind the spiky dude. He recognizes that sword, a white decorative piece on the sword handle. He finally concludes that there is only one person with that features. So he instantly bows down his head and greets that.
Praise the blood demon and long live the blood cult. I'm unworthy to be in the presence of the 4th blood star.
Everyone is perplexed as to what Woonhwi is speaking. All of a sudden, the spiky dude raises his voice that, why would the 4th blood star would be here? And in that moment he's startled there. The spiky dude instantly kneels down and greets the 4th blood star. There are 11 executives that lead the blood cult. They are the 4 supremes and the 4 blood stars. Woonhwi had never met a blood star in his previous life, but he heard rumors that the blood stars disguise themselves and inspect the squads. The blood star tells Woonhwi to raise his head. He is astonished that he has never been caught in any of the inspections. He is the 4th blood star of the blood cult, Du Django. He questions Woonhwi that, how did he recognize the blood star when Woonhwi is not a part of the blood cult? Woonhwi replies that it is his sword, the decoration on the sword, and the leather wrap on the handle. It was made in remembrance of his old trusted steed, the white stallion. The blood star is surprised that Woonhwi has good eyes. Nonetheless, how did Woonhwi know that when he is not a member of their cult? Woonhwi comprehends that the blood star is suspicious of him, although it'd be weirder if he didn't. But in his past life, he hid himself in the Orthodox faction as a spy of the blood cult for 7 years. So he knew how to handle situations like this better than anyone. He explains himself that he had the blood of a blood cultist flowing in his veins. The spiky dude and the other warriors are all confounded at Woonhwi's response, yet the blood star is staring at Woonhwi intently. He informs that his maternal grandfather has participated in the Great Orthodox Demonic War as a low-rank warrior of the Blood Wolf Squad. After being wounded in battle, his grandpa started wandering for a place to settle down with his only kin, Woonhwi's mother. And that's how his grandpa ended up living in Luoyang City. It was hard for him to find a home while escaping the war, but his internal injuries wouldn't heal. Woonhwi's mother tried to cover the piling medical bills as a servant of the So clan. That's when his mother and father met each other, and Woonhwi is born. Now the Blood Star comes to a conclusion that Woonhwi's grandfather is a part of the Blood Wolf Squad. The Blood Star is fascinated by the story, so he commands him to continue the rest of the story. Woonhwi is annoyed that he needs to continue the story, which is all made up by him. So he resumes that whenever Woonhwi complained about the training, his grandpa would bring up the captain of the Blood Wolf Squad, No Joman, and his son, No Sungu, that the son of the captain managed to complete all of the Blood Wolf training when he was Woonhwi's age. The rest of the warriors are whispering to each other as to how Woonhwi knew the names of the previous and current Blood Wolf captains. At last, Woonhwi concludes that his grandpa used to say to him every day that one day the blood cult will seek them out. Even 5 years ago, His grandpa's final words were nostalgia for the blood cult. After listening to the story, the blood star is somewhat satisfied. From the backside, the spiky dude is yelling that the blood star shouldn't listen to Woonhwi's explanation. The blood star then releases his inner energy a little.
Who told you that you could interrupt me? I didn't know that being the captain of the demon tiger gave you the gall to defy the words of a blood star.
Immediately, the spiky dude falls on his knees and requests forgiveness from the blood star. Woonhwi comprehends that, for a captain to cover in fear just with a few words, he could realize the authority of a blood star. The blood star continues that killing the warriors was justified as self-defense. So how come Woonhwi didn't reveal his true identity to the spiky dude when he is a blood related to the blood cult? Moreover, he begged for his life. Woonhwi responds that it is because he is worried that he might get killed for killing the warriors, even though he is related to the blood cult. Woonhwi is surprised that the blood star is very clever because he didn't get caught in Woonhwi's fake story and pointed out the flaw right away. The blood star then stands up and laughs out loudly that his jokes went too far. If Woonhwi's grandpa is a blood cultist, then it makes the blood star and Woonhwi brothers. He offers Woonhwi to join the blood cult, so he could continue his grandpa's legacy. Woonhwi accepts it gladly so that his grandpa could be pleased. Woonhwi is imagining that, at the end, he volunteered to join the blood cult again. So what was the point of regressing? As Woonhwi is released, he bows down and greets the blood star once more. The blood star welcomes him to the cult, and Woonhwi is pondering that, if he knew this would have happened, he wouldn't have resisted the warriors from the beginning. The blood star then stops walking. Now that he knows Woonhwi is a descendant of the blood cult, the blood star grants a wish to Woonhwi. Woonhwi could discern that the blood star is testing Woonhwi, so he plans to make a reasonable request. As a wish, Woonhwi wishes to get back his short sword, which was given to him as a keepsake from his mother. The blood star commands the spiky dude to hand over the short sword. But the spiky dude argues that the sword can't be given back to him. Yet, the blood star forewarns the spiky dude to not make himself repeat. Then, the spiky dude handed over the sword, and as the blood star took a glimpse at the sword, he believes that it is a good sword. Nevertheless, he breaks the top part of the sword by stating that Woonhwi still needs to pay the price for killing the warriors. Like that, he hurls the sword at Woonhwi by flicking his finger and informs that the next time Woonhwi uses this sword, he'd be more thoughtful. The sword is vibrating strongly by the force of the blood star, so Woonhwi could figure the strength of the blood star, where his inner energy is terrifying. Then a warrior comes forward and tells Woonhwi to get moving. Likewise, Woonhwi is slowly getting up and picks up his sword. The spirit named Sodam is yelling at Woonhwi that her hair has got cut into short. Woonhwi states that he will find a blacksmith soon and reattach the sword. Sodam questions if Woonhwi is really from the blood cult. He replies that, if it is her, he can reveal the truth. Sodam asks what's this truth about, and he responds that he came back from 10 years in the future. Sodam imagines that Woonhwi might have had a screw loose. The blood star commands the spiky dude to send someone to the Luoyang city and investigate about Woonhwi's mother's side family. The spiky dude answers that if the blood star is also thinking the same. The blood star agrees to it, because Woonhwi always looked at every single movement of his body. To the blood star, Woonhwi felt like a veteran spy. Whatever the case, Woonhwi knows a lot of information about the cult, so he advises everyone to be wary of him. Later, a cart is heading to the blood cult. Inside the cart, Sodam realizes how Woonhwi lived as a spy for 10 years, and at the end, how he got betrayed. He also reveals that only after regressing he was able to talk to her. She replies that is the reason she didn't felt Woonhwi as a stupid all of a sudden. Yet, she expresses that even after Woonhwi had a chance to change things back, he is still walking on the same tracks. Besides, if Woonhwi had abandoned Asong, things would have gone smoothly. Woonhwi answers that Asong is the only one who had ever treated Woonhwi as a real human. Moreover, Asong has died while protecting Woonhwi in his past life. So Woonhwi had held a debt in his heart during his time at the cult, and he finally managed to settle it today. She states that what happened cannot be changed, so there is still a chance left for him to change. Woonhwi questions what chance is she talking about, and she explains that information is the greatest weapon, and Woonhwi had 10 years worth of information in his hands. Woonhwi knows about the bad events that are going to happen in the future, so it means that he could avoid all of them and can take all the treasures that are valuable. Woonhwi believes that what Sodam said is right. He still had a chance to become the best, and he knows where all the secret treasures were. Woonhwi appreciates Sodam for helping him, yet she tells him to refrain speaking out loud, because he can easily speak with her using his thought. Now, Sodam questions as to how Woonhwi is going to learn martial arts with a shattered dantian. He notifies that there is a way that could be of help. Sodam expresses that if Woonhwi is able to circulate his inner energy again, Sodam will teach Woonhwi her martial arts. It is a short sword technique that her previous owner had used. Woonhwi dismisses it, because learning martial arts from a sword is impossible. She is furious now that Woonhwi had rejected her goodwill, so she will recite the principles of the martial arts to him now, so she can prove that she is better than him. In that fleeting moment, blue color light emits from the back of his hand. Then Woonhwi finds himself in a place that looks like a galaxy. Woonhwi is looking all around to check where he is. At that moment, a voice is heard that the universal shall open with the possession of the sword heart. Woonhwi can figure out one thing, that this is not Sodam's voice. From the center of the galaxy, a white light is radiating, and Woonhwi has returned to the cart. From his hand, he could see the blue fire, yet he doesn't feel anything hot. Sodam shouts that, why is Woonhwi spacing out when she is speaking about her martial arts? He shows the back of his hand to Sodam. If she could see the Big Dipper. She is frustrated that she could only see the back of his hand, and goes back, because she felt that Woonhwi got bored to learn martial arts from a short sword. Woonhwi falls back, and is thinking that if what he saw earlier is indeed the blue fire, then it means it has something to do with the secret records. After 15 days of traveling, Woonhwi is thinking that the Big Dipper that he had seen on the back of his hand didn't appear at all in these 15 days. A warrior opened the doors of the carriage and calls out all the teenagers they have kidnapped. Like that, all of them are heading near the stage. Sodam questions about where they are, and Woonhwi replies that it is the Six Blood Valley. It is one of the blood cult's bases. In addition to, it is also an educational facility to raise kidnapped children from across the lands into the blood cult warriors. And the man standing on the podium is the one in charge of training here at the Six Blood Valley. The tyrannical blood commander, Gu Sangwon. Someone from backside calls Woonhwi as Mule of Luoyang City. It is Jwabek and Wuhyun. Jwabek questions, why is Woonhwi here, if he knows everything that was going on? Woonhwi answers that he thought the Song brothers had escaped safely because he didn't saw them. Woonhwi imagines that the Song brothers are fated to be the black and white twin demons. Jwabek is surprised that Woonhwi is not tied up as him, and Woonhwi responds that it is long story, so he will fill him later. The spiky dude, known as Captain O, announces everyone to keep quiet. He then explains that everyone should run to the podium behind him by the time he counts to 5. As soon as he shouted to run, Woonhwi started to run, and Jwabek inquires Woonhwi as to why he is running as the spiky dude commanded him. Woonhwi replies that they will die if they don't do as the warriors say. They don't understand what is happening, and Woonhwi is running at full speed. At that point in time, the spiky dude signals a warrior to kill the children. The Song brothers are planning to do as Woonhwi said, and from their backside, a warrior raised his sword and started to slaughter people. After witnessing this massacre, the Song brothers are running to keep their lives intact. Woonhwi now sits on one knee, and Song brothers are fixated to copy Woonhwi. The instructors are amazed that, without their command, Woonhwi had already got down to the position by sitting on one knee, and rest of them had followed Woonhwi too. This has never happened before. The instructor remembers that Woonhwi claims to be the descendant of the blood cultist. Sodam states that Woonhwi is really a true blood cult member because he had taken the position before even getting the order. Woonhwi answers that he had to do at least this much to avoid suspicion. Sangwon orders everyone to listen clearly. He announces that the children should be happy because they have been chosen by the blood cult. Everyone is shocked that they were chosen by the blood cult, which is an evil faction. A person then yells that, how is killing and kidnapping people the same as choosing people? Sodam expresses that what the person said is right, and Woonhwi tells that that person is now going to be made an example. Sodam asks what Woonhwi meant by an example. In that moment, a warrior draws out his sword and immediately swings between that person's head. Woonhwi explains that the blood cult kills the low-grade children and demonstrates what happens if anyone objects their order. The warrior states that if there is anyone who wants to defy the blood cult, they can come forward. Everyone is terrorized by their methods, and Woonhwi explains that the blood cult forces loyalty through fear. It is pretty effective too. And Woonhwi managed to somehow survive in his previous life by obeying them like a dog. Sangwon commences the baptism ceremony, so for the first participant, he chooses Woonhwi. He puts into question that, if Woonhwi knows what's inside the box. He answers that, there are bloodworms. Sangwon appreciates it, and commands Woonhwi to explain the task to rest of the participants as well. He publicizes that, it is a poisonous parasite that's planted deep into the chest of the cultists, so they never forget their loyalty. Moreover, they have to eat the cult's antidote every 24 hours, and if they fail to do so, the bloodworm will rampage in their chest. Jwabek is bewildered as to how Woonhwi knew all of this. Sangwon expresses that Woonhwi is right about it, which can be expected from a loyal descendant of the blood cult. Jwabek is shocked Chain that Woonhwi is a spy for the blood cult. Sodam sarcasms that he is a spy in his previous life, and even after regressing, he became a spy for the blood cult again. Sangwon now makes an offer to Woonhwi, which is, he can have the privilege to partake the bloodworm first. Woonhwi thinks that there is no other way to escape from this situation. He needs to consume the bloodworm, otherwise he'll be dead. However, in this life, he is at the center of the attention. Woonhwi then kung fu salutes to Sangwon and thanks him for giving such an opportunity to Woonhwi. Yet, Woonhwi requests some water to gulp it down. The spiky dude is pondering that Sangwon has taken a liking to Woonhwi, even though it is not confirmed if Woonhwi is the descendant of a real cultist or not. Later, he smirks that the preparations are complete, so the truth will be revealed soon. As Woonhwi swallowed the bloodworm, he greets Sangwon that he is satisfied with the opportunity. Sangwon declares to everyone that the rest of the participants should do as Woonhwi did. Sodam is stunned that Woonhwi has lived with the bloodworm for 10 years in his chest. Woonhwi feels noxious all of a sudden. Now the pain has increased, that he grabbed his chest. He didn't know what's happening, but it is feeling like his insides are burning. The pain feels different from his previous life, yet the location is where the bloodworm is at. Besides, the bloodworm shouldn't rampage for no reason. At that moment, there is one person who is visible to Woonhwi. It is the spiky dude. Sangwon inquires if Woonhwi had a problem. Then a person comes forward and interrogates if the bloodworm in Woonhwi's chest is rampaging. The spiky dude expresses that, for someone to struggle this much, when he is claiming to be a descendant of the cult. Woonhwi is so furious at the spiky dude, as to what he did with the bloodworm that Woonhwi has swallowed. Sangwon questions the spiky dude about the condition of Woonhwi. The spiky dude states that Woonhwi must have stimulated the worm while swallowing it, so it might have caused him pain. Woonhwi is thinking that he would have done that mistake if it was his first time. The spiky dude informs Woonhwi to turn around, so that he can make the bloodworm go dormant with a simple technique. Woonhwi is surprised that the spiky dude is personally treating him. The spiky dude knows that it is because the other cadets are waiting in line. He alerts Woonhwi to turn around. Woonhwi is pondering that if it isn't the spiky dude that his chest is aching like this, then what is happening in his chest? Woonhwi conveys that the spiky dude can stop now because he feels the pain is going down to his belly. Yet, the spiky dude doesn't care about that and forewarns Woonhwi to turn around. Nonetheless, Woonhwi can realize what is happening right now. Then, farts off at the spiky dude, and the spiky has flinched after breathing that bad smell. Woonhwi notified the spiky dude to move away, but he didn't listen. Sodam is laughing so hard that her stomach is cracking over. She expresses that it's been boring to her, and Woonhwi made a nice show to her. However, Woonhwi feels that the pain that comes from a bloodworm had completely abolished. Jwabek calls Woonhwi as a peon of the blood cult and inquires Woonhwi about where they are going right now. Woonhwi responds that even he don't know about everything. Jwabek signifies that Woonhwi is not explaining about the ceremony, so that Woonhwi can grab all the attention by taking the first position. Woonhwi is surprised that Jwabek is still acting like a kid. The spiky dude then announces that, from now onwards, they will be taking the rank evaluation tests, so everyone shouldn't cause a ruckus and stand still. Woonhwi is disheartened that the spiky dude has once again taken the lead role. In his past life, it was another captain that took the instructor role here. Now, he apprises that the test is very simple. Each examiner will enter one of the caves behind the spiky dude. They simply need to get evaluated from an examiner in their respected caves. When the test is over, they will receive a plaque with ranks, high, medium, and low, which determines what rank they are. The blood cult is fully ability-centric. Then the spiky dude shows his belt, which is in blue color, and blue color signifies a high warrior in the cult. A high rank that is acknowledged by the cult can have the privilege of their bloodworm to be removed. Everyone get their hopes up when they heard that they can remove the bloodworm when they became a high-rank warrior. Woonhwi is imagining that this is all a game of the blood cult, because by the time they became a high-rank warrior, they will slowly turn into blood cultists, so they wouldn't betray the cult, even if the bloodworm is removed from their chest. Then, the spiky dude takes out a whistle and speaks that he informed to everyone that they shouldn't cause a ruckus. When the spiky dude blowed the whistle, Woonhwi instantly covered both of his ears, and Jwabek let knows that that whistle is loud, but it not something to cover up the ears. At that moment, all the cadets are experiencing an immense pain from their chest, and Sodam inquiries about Woonhwi's condition. Nevertheless, Woonhwi isn't feeling any pain when the whistle has blown. He just closed his ears out of an instinct. The spiky dude describes that he explained about the privileges of being an high-rank warrior, but it is not something that anyone can easily achieve. At most, 2 to 3 people from this group, and rest of them will live with the bloodworms forever. He shouts that, for how long are they going to keep staying down? Woonhwi is pretty sure that the bloodworm is not in his chest. Sodam tells that it could be because of Woonhwi closing his ears that he didn't feel any pain, and Woonhwi counters that even if one closes their ears, the bloodworm cannot be stopped from rampaging completely. Jwabek is now ascertained that, now that he had swallowed the bloodworm, he has no way to escape. So no matter how good Woonhwi is at martial arts, he is still a person with a shattered Danton. So Jwabek is quickly going to ascend in ranks, and removes his bloodworm. Then he takes his revenge. Woonhwi can't understand what Jwabek is speaking about, and then Jwabek raises his hand, and states that he wishes to be the first person to take the test. Woonhwi can guess that Jwabek is competing with Woonhwi so that he can take the first position to grab everyone's attention. The spiky dude welcomes Jwabek to come front, and Jwabek moves forward with a smile on his face. Jwabek then looks back and informs that he don't even need Woonhwi's help, because he is smarter than Woonhwi. Before he could even finish his words, the spiky dude punched him firmly, that his jaw had almost dislocated, and he was sent flying. The spiky dude expresses that, is Jwabek deaf, or what? Because the spiky dude clearly mentioned that they should do as the warriors say, and even blowed the whistle to show an example, yet he was still acting on his own accord. Everyone responds that they will do as the warriors say. Now, the spiky dude comes in front of Woonhwi, and decides that Woonhwi will be the first to take up the test. Woonhwi can't comprehend what the spiky dude is scheming. The spiky questions if the proud descendant of a cultist is having a problem. Woonhwi kung fu salutes, and expresses that he is honored to take up the take. As Woonhwi is heading inside the cave, he knows that a captain named Hegium will be the examiner. Sodam queries Woonhwi as to what rank did he obtained in his past life. Woonhwi responded that it is obviously a low rank, because what can he do with a broken dantian? Moreover, low ranks are used as thrown-away pawns for miscellaneous missions. In that moment, the examiner asks if he is the Woonhwi of the Luoyang city. Woonhwi can recognize this voice, even though the examiner is a bit younger compared to the first time he met the examiners in his past life. Sodam inquiries about the examiner, and Woonhwi responds that he is the direct superior of Woonhwi in his past life. She asks what squad is Woonhwi in, and he replies, it is the Bloodwolf squad that Woonhwi used for his story writing. The examiner is No Sunggu, the Bloodwolf captain. He questions Woonhwi if he is from the Luoyang city. Without replying, Woonhwi is imagining that the spiky dude had clearly set up a nice trap for Woonhwi, but he has the information from his previous life as a spy. Woonhwi introduces himself as,
I am So Woonhwi of Luoyang City's So clan.
He then continues that he heard a lot about the examiner from his grandpa. The examiner with a serious expression speaks that it was an obvious lie. If Woonhwi's grandpa was a warrior from the Blood Wolf squad, there is no warrior among the Blood Wolf squad that matches his grandfather. Then, the examiner unsheaths his sword and quickly grasps Woonhwi's neck. He interrogates Woonhwi to spill the beans as to how Woonhwi knows about the Blood Wolf squad so much. Because the examiner is training in the Blood Wolf squad since the beginning, so he remembers all the names of the squad members that worked under the examiner's father. Sodam is confounded that she don't know what to do in this situation. She instantly speaks that an attack is coming from below, and Woonhwi swiftly dodges that attack. In that brief moment, the examiner attacked from the front, and Woonhwi blocked it. Woonhwi detects that his hip is going to break by the force alone. Then the examiner kicks Woonhwi densely, that Woonhwi is blown away, and was crashed to the cave's wall and coughs up blood. Woonhwi is bad-mouthing the examiner, that his personality is the same as in his previous life. The examiner is again coming for Woonhwi at an incredible speed, and Woonhwi is feeling dizziness suddenly, and it is hard to focus. Sodam advises Woonhwi to move as she told, and predicts that it is in horizontal slash, so he needs to bend his neck and quickly block his front. It helped a lot for Woonhwi, that it didn't cause him a signified damage. The examiner releases his aura, and Woonhwi instantly looks at him. Then the examiner stomped on Woonhwi, and demands an answer from Woonhwi as to where heard about the examiner. Woonhwi is relieved that the examiner is investigating Woonhwi, rather than killing him on the spot. He answers that if the examiner wants to find his younger sister or not. The examiner replies that Woonhwi had done quite an homework for him to mention about the examiner's sister. The examiner responds that his sister is already dead a long time ago. Woonhwi states that his sister named No Sewa is still alive, because the day the examiner's father was killed, his sister was kidnapped. Furthermore, the corpse that the examiner had witnessed is not hers. It could be explained since the only corpse that got burned in that incident is only his sister's. Woonhwi makes a deal with the examiner that he will tell him the whereabouts of his sister, and he needs to leave Woonhwi alone. The examiner has bought Woonhwi's explanation, because Woonhwi even mentioned his sister's name, so it doesn't seem like he's bluffing. As the examiner thrusted the sword to the ground, he accepts to Woonhwi's deal and acts according to his story. Now the examiner wants the whereabouts of his sister, and Woonhwi gives off the details that his sister is at the lunar flower merchant. The examiner is bewildered because the flower merchant troop is owned by the First Blood Star, and the culprit in this case is the one who had assassinated the examiner's father. Woonhwi reveals that what the examiner is thinking right now is true. The culprit of that assassination is indeed the First Blood Star, and it was to control and keep the Blood Wolf squad in check. The First Star, Jangryong, it was his plan. The examiner expresses that it is nonsense because the wound on his father's body is reported something else, and Woonhwi replies that the examiner didn't see the wound for himself, so how can be certain of it? The retrieval and checking of his father's corpse was all handled by the flower merchant troop. By Woonhwi's response, the examiner is believing in Woonhwi. He leaks more about the information that he gained in his past life, that his younger sister in the Gumhi branch of the flower merchant troop in Jujong. The examiner is astonished as to who Woonhwi is. Woonhwi laughs like an intelligent protagonist and continues that Woonhwi had revealed everything he knew, so he wants the examiner to help him in return too. The examiner forewarns to Woonhwi that if the contents of Woonhwi's story are false, the examiner would definitely hunt him down to cut off his neck. Woonhwi grabs his hand and agrees to it. Moreover, he had already consumed the bloodworm. He hopes the examiner to find his sister soon. The examiner expresses that he is still not trusting Woonhwi completely, but if what Woonhwi said is true, regardless of the deal, he will treat Woonhwi as his life savior forever. Woonhwi states to him that the examiner is magnanimous as the rumors say, and he is imagining that. This is the reason why Woonhwi had trusted that he could win this because of the examiner's straightforwardness. However, in his hand, there is a mid-rank plaque. The examiner describes that Woonhwi had the qualifications since he had blocked 2 of the examiner's attacks, and it is not because of the deal. The examiner sarcasms that if Woonhwi had heard about the examiner's personality from his grandfather, and Woonhwi replies that, would the examiner believes it, if that is his answer. The examiner states that he will fall for the lie. Due to, Woonhwi never revealed about his grandfather's name, and the examiner tested him based on that, and Woonhwi blabbered on the information that he knew. Woonhwi scratches his head, that he was indeed played by the examiner. The examiner speaks that he will trust Woonhwi this once. As Woonhwi is walking out of the cave, Sodam thought that something bad would happen, and Woonhwi thinks that he got lucky this time. The examiner is pondering that Woonhwi is really a peculiar child, because even in this tense situation he remained calm, which is unordinary. Besides, it felt to him like Woonhwi had lived 10 years more than what he appears. Furthermore, the movement where he dodged the examiner's attack, if the first one was due to luck, the second one, where he blocked the attack by closing off his eyes, cannot be dismissed as mere luck. It was a step too slow to say that Woonhwi had sensed his energy. The examiner can't put into words, but it felt to him that someone was helping Woonhwi there. The examiner leaves it off like that, and Woonhwi was like a déjà vu to him. The spiky dude proclaims that everyone needs to arrange themselves according to their ranks, and mid-ranks will follow the spiky dude. As Woonhwi is entering into the scenario, Jwabaek's jaw had dropped to see that Woonhwi is a mid-rank, with his broken dantian. He is surprised that Woonhwi is the same rank as him. Woonhwi and Sodam both are laughing at Jwabaek's stunned expression. As all the mid-rank cadets are following the spiky dude, it doesn't make sense to Jwabaek as to how Woonhwi got the mid-rank plaque. He thinks that Woonhwi might have got special treatment because he is from the blood cult. Sodam states that Jwabaek thinks Woonhwi as his rival and his ultimate opponent to defeat in this blood valley. Woonhwi expresses that it is annoying for him to get the unnecessary attention from these both. Sodam is looking for the other person who Woonhwi mentioned, and it is the spiky dude. Since Woonhwi came out fine after facing the examiner, Woonhwi seems to have gotten on the spiky dude's nerves. Since the examiner guaranteed Woonhwi's background in exchange for the information, the spiky dude lost his cause to oppose Woonhwi. Back then, the examiner confirms that Woonhwi is really the descendant of a cultist from the Blood Wolf squad. Sodam has a doubt regarding Woonhwi's broken dantian. He responds that he needs to find an opportunity to fix the dantian somehow. She questions that, how is he able to fix a broken dantian? He answers that there is a way. The all-healing divine physician can heal almost anything. He explains that the physician is a divine doctor. He will cure anyone if they pay the price. From what Woonhwi heard from his past life, he had fixed a broken dantian before. Moreover, in 10 months, the physician will come to the 6 Blood Valley. Sodam comprehends that, so Woonhwi will pay the price and get cured. Nevertheless, Woonhwi has left all his money the day he got kidnapped. Right now he has nothing besides Sodam. She instantly gets fired up because she believes that Woonhwi is going to sell her in order to get cured. He states that he will sell a medical herb to the physician. She inquiries what's this medical herb that Woonhwi is speaking, and he replies that, in 10 months, the physician will search for a particular medical herb, and since he is a regressor, he knows the location of that medical herb. Now that he is in this situation, Woonhwi is planning to rank up in the blood cult. Sodam is surprised that Woonhwi is from the Orthodox faction, and he is seeking to advance in the evil faction. He describes that, at the end of the day, there are evil people in both Orthodox and evil faction. The spiky dude stops everyone from walking further. He is stunned that all the low-rank warriors have been injured, and there is a man who is grabbing the neck of a low-rank warrior. The giant man is dissatisfied that all these warriors are nothing but trash. From his backside, the spiky dude is calling for the giant man to inquire his reason for doing all this mess. The giant man looks back and speaks that fresh blood has arrived once again. In that instant, he quickly vanishes into air, and the spiky dude alerts the cadets to stay right behind him. As he was unsheathing his sword, the giant man has grabbed his hand and states that the spiky dude is an hindrance to him. So with a single punch, the spiky dude is done for. Woonhwi is shocked that a captain of the blood cult is an high-rank warrior, and to defeat such a person in a single move without using the full force means that he is someone that they can't defeat. But Woonhwi don't remember him from his past life too. So where did such a variable had come from? Jwabek is yelling at the giant man that the giant man killed a captain, so he should be punished for this crime. Woonhwi calls out for Jwabek to calm down, because the captain has just fainted and Jwabek needs to stand back. At that point of time, the giant man clapped his hand. With that, the air around the cadets vibrated strongly, and when the pressure had entered into their ears, it caused them a pain that is much worse compared to the whistle blown by the spiky dude. Almost all the cadets had fainted due to that pressure. The giant man denotes that, to faint from just a single clap, these cadets are trash as well. Sodam questions about Woonhwi's condition. He interprets that his eardrums feels like they will explode, and he is getting noxious feeling, the same as when the bloodworm rampaged in his heart. Then, Woonhwi can feel the blue fire had activated in his heart, and slow his pain had settled back. At that time, Jwabek is challenging the giant to come at him, so that he could save his brother. Woonhwi is confounded that both the brothers has been able to stand against that pressure. The giant man laughs out, and is satisfied that both the brothers have passed the test. Jwabek don't understand what this strange man is spouting, and that's when the giant man had slammed Jwabek to the ground. Sodam recommends Woonhwi to escape right now, when the giant man is looking away. Like that, the giant man had eye contacted to Woonhwi. As he was terrified of the giant man's aura, Woonhwi is running away from that giant man. In that fleeting moment, the giant had approached right behind Woonhwi, and he raised his leg higher than his head, and Woonhwi felt a horrible sensation. After some time, someone is waking up the spiky dude, and it is Sangwon. He felt something is wrong when the spiky dude and the cadets have not arrived to a assigned destination in time. So he hurriedly came to check what happened. And most of them are severely injured here. So he inquiries as to what just happened here. The spiky dude reports that a wild person appeared out of nowhere, and it is a little shameful for him to say as a captain, but that man is powerful enough to knock out the spiky dude in a single hit. He describes the appearance of that man as a giant man with long disheveled hair. Moreover, he wore tiger skin instead of a shirt. By the description of the spiky dude, Sangwon realizes who that giant man is. The spiky dude asks as to who that giant man is, and Sangwon discloses that there is only one man with that features that the spiky dude mentioned. It is one of the Four Supremes, the eccentric Hey Action. The spiky dude is flabbergasted after knowing the identity of that giant man, and Sangwon informs that when the spiky dude is dispatched for the mission, the Fourth Supreme, Hey Action has been residing near the Sixth Blood Valley. He is one of the absolute powers of the blood cult, and the Four Supremes are stronger than the Seven Blood Stars. In that Four Supremes, the one who has the most unpredictable personality is the Fourth Supreme, Hey Action. Action didn't expected that. Woonhwi is one that'll wake up first. Moreover, he is carrying a short sword too. It is surprising to even the Fourth Supreme that Woonhwi has been able to pass the training of the blood cult, and even survive the pressure of clap with a shattered dantian. He speaks that
this will become very interesting.
This series will get a new part in a few days. And in the meantime, you can watch this series, which is in the same universe as this manhwa. Thanks for watching.